So thank you everyone for joining today's webinar. Hopefully you can see the presentation I'm sharing on screen. So welcome to today's webinar on HM50, guidelines for the preparation of tanks and lines for marine tank vessels carrying petroleum and refined products. My name's Amy and I'll do a brief introduction to the EI and then hand over to my colleague Philippa, who will introduce what we're talking about today. So before we begin, just a bit of webinar housekeeping. So this webinar is being recorded and will be made available on YouTube in due course. All participants are muted, but we do want this to be an interactive session. So please feel free to post any questions you have in the Q&A function and they'll be answered at the end. So just a quick introduction for those on the call. So very warm welcome to our speakers, Malcolm, who's come from Shell, and Mark, who's from Intertech, who've given their time today to present. I'm also joined by my colleague Philippa from the EI. So I'm just going to quickly introduce the EI for those of you who haven't heard or worked with us before. So the EI is a professional body for the global energy industry, delivering good practice, knowledge and training across a wide range of topics and through a wide range of resources, including good practice events and training. And to find out more, please visit the EI website. And if you're not a member already, please feel free to, again, check out the EI website and see what we have to offer. As I'm sure whoever you are, whatever job or role you do, we'll have something to offer for you. So the Technical and Innovation Programme produces good practice guidance, and this is developed via committees made up of subject matter specialists. There are 30 plus projects commissioned each year and hundreds of published documents on the EI publication site. So the topics vary from aviation to environment, as well as many others. So I'm now going to pass over to my colleague Philippa, who's going to introduce a bit more about what we're talking about today. So thank you.
Thanks, Amy. So as Amy said, we have a bunch of committees under the technical program, and the one I help to manage is hydrocarbon management, and HM50 comes under the work program of the EI's HMC committee. So HMC main aims are to be a major and respected force in worldwide hydrocarbon management development, including the development of alternative and renewable fuels. And we do this by producing and maintaining a collection of hydrocarbon management documents to the highest technical integrity, which meet the defined needs of the petroleum and allied industries. And we do this by having experts that sit on our committees and help participate and support our documents. Could I have the next slide, please? Thank you. So this slide just shows the organization of HMC. We have 5 main committees. We have upstream, refineries and distribution, cargo inspection, oil transportation, and Asian region. And for HM50 specifically, it's been worked on by HMC3 and HMC4, as well as experts and volunteers from the EI's Aviation Committee. So we've got 2 of our experts here today, Malcolm and Mark, and they'll be talking through HM50. So I'll pass that over to you now.
Many thanks to Philippa and Amy, and welcome to everyone. We're going to be talking about HM50. We've spent about a year now working on the latest update, and we've had to do that basically because things have changed so much in the industry and since the last time it was reviewed about 5 years ago. So firstly, I just want to give a brief update on, well, a description of what HM50 is all about. Essentially, we're trying to provide guidance on how a vessel would prepare its tanks when changing from one product to the other, whether water washing would be required or chemicals, or whether a well drain or a purge is suitable. And primarily, what we're trying to do is we're trying to maintain product quality, so not to put anything off spec, but actually minimize the amount of tank cleaning and preparation goes on, because preparation using bunkers to heat or water to wash or putting guys down into tanks to clean them has an impact on the environment, on HSC, and ultimately on the bottom line and the cost of operating such a vessel. And so there are plenty of matrices and advice available. Most companies have got something themselves. So charterers and vessel owners will have some kind of advice on tank cleaning. But we thought it was important to consolidate this on a global basis and use information from all of the oil companies and the vessel operators in order to give some kind of overall standard. And that can be used by anyone who wants to check that the vessel that they're chartering is doing the right kind of thing. So there's not any massive conflict between what's being done and what HM50 would say. If that was to be the case, there would have to be some kind of discussion between the vessel and the charterer. It's also really important to say that HM50 doesn't go into safety too much. It's primarily a technical document. So if there's any kind of safety implications, we should be looking at those in different purposely published documents such as ISCOT and SOLAS and MARPOL. Okay, so nothing that is said within HM50 actually overrides what is being given in those them safety documents. Probably, you know, why should we be looking at HM50? Well, as well as the guidance we've given above, the statements, there's also, it's actually a free document. So anyone who's a registered user with the EI, anyone who's a member who's got an EI account can just download HM50 and benefit from the advice that's in it. Okay, next slide then please, Amy. So as I said, it's taken a good year to update this latest version. And the reason for that is that so much has changed in the industry. You know, 5 years ago, we weren't really talking a huge amount about paraffinic materials, or bio components weren't around so much. You know, there's still a lot of leaded gasoline around. So actually, we've had to look at the whole what the industry is doing at the moment, and what products are being carried on vessels, and how the HM50 is updated to reflect this so that it remains current. So we've included some new grades such as paraffinic diesel. That just wasn't a thing. There's aromatics and oxygenates are being moved around a lot more as the tanker fleet matures and becomes more specialized. Also, some grades we've actually had to, we've decided to remove from HM50, and things like leaded gasoline, which we just don't see in the globe anymore, apart from avgas. Solvents, white spirit, they're not kind of things that are being carried around a lot, so they're not really of use in HM50. And also a lot of aviation grades, whereas in the past there might be a whole range of aviation grades. Now we're pretty much just talking as far as tankers are concerned about just normal Jet A1. So all these other wide cut jet fuels, JP4s, Jet Bs, they're just not being produced anymore. So it's pointless having them there. In the marine industry, we've seen changes to residual fuel. So the majority of fuel that's moved around now is 0.5 rather than the high sulfur that it used to be. So that has an impact on how the matrix may look. We've also made distinctions between clean and dirty condensate, because you know, the way you might change your tank preparation based on whether the condensate is clean and dirty has an impact. And exactly what do we mean by clean and dirty? So we tried to establish what that looks like in the matrix as well. Okay, thank you. Maybe next slide, please. So the biggest change that you will see is previously we've just had a single table with all the grades to load and all the grades as a pre-cargo in it, and that became very complex. And a lot of information was being lost, and we had to squeeze it into a single page, and we couldn't be very specific with the notes and the guidance. So what we've done is we've taken the quite brave decision to split this table into 3 parts now. So we have a table dealing with aviation grades, one with clean grades, and then we have a third table which is dark and heavy grades. And that's primarily to get more information, more relevant types of preparation into each table. And it also means that the notes that we add to really yeah, make that preparation useful and to maintain product quality, that can become specific to the types of grades that are being dealt with in that single table. Okay, so for instance, we can give a lot more information on aviation fuels and how we can prepare after cleaning condensates, or we can give information on mopping the tanks rather than freshwater washing. All that can now be put into a single table, whereas previously it used to be distributed throughout the document, and it wasn't so hard to find. So Amy, if we just go forward another slide, please, and this will just show people exactly what it looked like. So as you can see there, that's our previous edition. We can go back to the single one. And it was quite, there was a lot going on there. There was a lot of notes. Most of those notes would refer to just maybe one grade, so they were pointless. And then now we've split it. You can, Amy, we can go on to the three tables now. It's okay. Thank you. So now you can see that the notes, there's a lot of notes there and maybe not so many grades. So it's just showing you the kind of how we can be more specific in our advice. Now, we're not going to go through all of these here. It's just to give you a bit of an idea of what we've been working on. But if we go back to slide 10, please, Amy, I'll give you a quick update on the kind of things that we've done without going into the detail. And any members there can download HM50 and have a look at it and see for themselves the fine detail. So section 211, which is individual considerations for products, so product types, we've had to revise and update that throughout. So there's been some new sections for paraffinic diesel, clean condensate, oxygenates and aromatics, and I've kind of highlighted that they're going to be considered already. But also even the existing advice has moved on. So 5 years ago, we were talking about diesel with 5% FAME in it. We're not anymore. We're mainly talking about 7% or even higher. So we've had to change the type of advice there. There's items about synthetic aviation fuel. Well, that wasn't a thing 5 years ago. So we've had to include things like that. And the whole bio components has really been beefed up, the kind of advice that's there. So we have updated all our advice on fats and oils and other biologically derived materials. And we've actually got that in an annex. So we've created an annex in there that will give that advice. We've also updated a lot of advice regarding base lubricants. Previously, the matrix just considered lubricants as just a single lubricant, whereas now there's so many different groups with the paraffinic products coming into the market. They need very specific advice. So we've had to change the matrix to kind of allow for them. So that's basically a summary of the technical changes that we've made. One thing that did come out of the meetings, the technical committee that we had, we decided that 5 years, the standard review of 5 years is probably not going to be good enough. So we're actually looking to reduce that. So we'll have more regular scheduled meetings, and we will look to review the matrix on a much more regular basis, basically, because the industry is changing so much. So that's all I've got from the presentation point of view. Very short and sweet, but I'm happy to take any questions. And I have a Mark with us as well from Intertech. He's going to be helping me out if we get any questions that we need to address. Is there anything there, Philippa? Do you know?
Are we putting questions in the chat, Amy? Or is that free. Can everyone speak out?
Well, you can put them in the Q&A function or in the chat.
Okay. I'll just keep monitoring it, or if there's anything there from anyone else.
So maybe I can ask a question to the audience. I mean, we have changed this, what is, quite a standard one table. We've changed it into now 3 tables. We split it up. There was, a little bit of reluctance to do that at first, but we think it's a good solution, and it works in the new environment that we work in. But I just wondered if people had any thoughts on that, whether that might be a little bit of a shock to them. Is it useful? Can we see it working? People can, give thumbs ups or whatever to give some kind of indication.
Yeah, so we just had a question, I guess, in the chat from, just look at the name. So as I said, tank previously loaded with EMBS, whether they can be used for loading of ATF in the same tank.
So is that, so to me, that's gasoline containing ethanol, loading aviation fuel. Is that aviation turbine fuel? Possibly. If that's the case, I mean, that advice will be in HM50. Essentially, you can, but you're going to have to be careful about that gasoline before. So you're going to have to wash before it, and also there might be some kind of contractual, specific contractual terms from your buyer that says he doesn't want to see oxygenates in the previous 3 cargoes or something like that. So technically it's doable. You can wash your tanks, and as long as your vessel is competent and the crew are competent, you can wash that gasoline and that ethanol away. What you cannot do, what you're never going to be able to do, is load straight on top. There's flashpoint issues, there's oxygenate issues that are just not compatible with aviation fuels. Mark, is there any additional comments? Are you happy with that advice?
Yeah, no, I think that's, and it is covered in the matrix at the end, which says essentially it has to be washed together with gas free, and looking at mopping and removal of any scowl, etc. So all of that guidance is included in the aviation part of the matrix, page 29 and 30 of the new standard.
Thank you. So there's an additional question that was, do we have any limit for ethanol detection in? So we didn't go into that specifically in HM50. That's a little bit out of scope on this. We talk in our matrix, we talk about gasoline containing ethanol or not containing ethanol. How a company interprets that is very much up to them, I think, and in line with their internal policies and maybe EI 1530. It could be that it has to be below the detection limit, and there has to be a declaration that none has been added. But to be quite honest, if you've got gasoline in there, you're probably going to have to be washing that tank anyway, so it's probably not a massive issue. It's not treated the same way as as FAME, where FAME was a specific risk in that it's sticky, unlike ethanol. Ethanol is easy to wash. FAME was never easy to wash. Also, there was a lot, before FAME was introduced into diesel, there was a lot of well draining between diesel and jet fuel because they were similar types of molecules. And so when FAME, this added oxygenate, was added to diesel, there was the immediate risk that current practice would lead to contamination. And so that's why the aviation industry is so sensitive about FAME. ethanol was never really as much of an issue because you would always be washing between any gasoline, whether it contained ethanol or not, and loading jet, because of the flashpoint alone would put it off, as well as some of the additives and stuff like that that would be in there. Thank you for that question.
Malcolm, I was just going to ask about when we update the tables in the document, do you think that the main changes will just be to the table, or will there be any changes to the main body of the document as a whole? Would it still remain valid with the just update to the tables?
As we review it, you mean going forward?
Yeah.
It kind of depends. So we're really happy with the advice that is contained in there. So we don't think what's in there at the moment will change as advice in itself, but some of the grades may change. So they might become more sensitive, or different grades may come onto the market as the energy transition progresses, and so that may need additional products to be inserted into the table. So the tables may look differently, and that will impact some of the technical advice that's in the text body of the of HM50 as well. And this is the real reason that we're thinking about doing it more regularly, because we just don't know. Like we did 5 years ago, we didn't know the world was going to be moving around so much higher fame material, so much vegetable oil, so much paraffinic and synthetic materials. We didn't know that. By the same token, we can't predict what's going to happen in the next 5 years. So we just think we need to keep on top of it a little bit more, so that HM50 doesn't become 5 years out of date each time.
Thanks. That sounds good.
All right, thank you. So we've got, there's still no information in the matrix about sustainable aviation fuel. I don't have the matrix. Do I have? Yeah. I thought we did. We have mentioned it. Yeah. So there is. So we don't. I don't think we take it out. So in the matrix table we have aviation jet fuel and components, which refers to synthetic, and then within the text. Section 2.11, which is specific information on cargo types, we do include synthetic in there. Now, primarily, it's very similar to what's happening in jet as well, but we do need to refer to it at least, so that it's not treated as a normal paraffinic fuel. Mark, by all means, jump in if you need to.
Yeah, we specifically actually mentioned, 2.11.5 specifically includes synthetic jet, sustainable aviation fuel, so SAF, and also synthetic blending component, SBC, within the text of the more product-specific areas. So it is touched on. Could it go further? That's probably one that will develop as the standards develop moving forward, and as we see more of that in the market. There's also reference there about first foot analysis to verify cleaning. I don't think we touch specifically on first foots. We probably refer to first foots, but that needs to be essentially as a commercial decision based on risk as to whether you feel that there's a high enough risk of contamination from pipelines, mainly the ship's pipelines, because obviously we're cleaning the tanks and we hope that the pipelines are cleaned at the same time. Then that would be a commercial decision made as to whether first foots should be not only taken but actually tested to verify the cleanliness. Obviously, the more sensitive cargoes like jet would be done anyway, but for other cargoes that would be more based on a risk risk basis and based on the commercial parties.
Yeah, so we do mention it with regards to loading jet after fame. So we say that it's something that could be considered, as well as a whole range of other samples that could be taken. But when it comes to routinely first foot testing, and yeah, we don't go into a lot of detail. As Mark said, it's primarily a commercial decision between parties, isn't it? It's to kind of to check that tank cleaning has been carried out correctly, rather than determining what type of tank preparation you do. But it's certainly something we could perhaps look into in the future if we deem it to be a subject that needs more clarification. But I think we wouldn't go down the route of mandating it after certain types of clean. We make the assumption that whatever clean we suggest within the matrix is done correctly. And once that's done correctly, the risk to the next cargo has been minimized. But it's an interesting question. Thanks, David. So we'll take whatever questions have come in, and we will consider those in our next review, specifically as items to determine if we do need to work on them. So yeah, so I appreciate, as we always appreciate any kind of feedback on these publications, because it just leads to the next version being even better and more specific.
Thank you very much, Malcolm.
Okay.
So from my point of view, we don't see too many more questions coming in, so we're going to wrap up now, if that's okay with everyone. So thank you very much to Malcolm, Philippa and Mark for attending and giving their time to present this work. And yeah, thank you to everyone online as well for, again, giving up your time to come and be a part of this. So if this webinar was of interest, please feel free to download this publication. As it was said before, this is a free publication. You can get it from the EI website. And just to let you know, we do have another webinar in this series on a very different topic, though, on hydrogen, evaluating the energy balance and efficiency of a whole hydrogen energy system. And that's on the 29th of May. So if you want to attend this, like you attended this one, please look on the EI What's On page for it. So yeah, thank you again for everyone for attending, and have a good rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Thank you.